Hello and welcome to this, the Books Crypto Club catch-up on Zoom. It's Sunday, 12th September 2021, and today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, DLT, DeFis, NFT, whatever people end up talking about, really. These meetings are held every week and we record them, so do remember to click on the subscribe button, click on the like, make some comments in the YouTube channel, or actually come along to a meeting and come along, contribute your ideas, learn, whatever, really. So let's see who's going to come and join us today. Sam, hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm nervously looking at the ADA price.
The ADA price.
I've got a lot in, and you know what? I kind of did something a bit clever and a bit stupid yesterday, so I put a lot of my portfolio in. I thought there would be a bigger run up on the price. I'm surprised that it's just started going up. But what I did, I the Fibonacci's.
Yep.
So yeah, I looked at the key Fibonacci's, and when it went up yesterday, I took it out when it went a bit high, and I waited for it to retrace to a key Fibonacci.
Okay.
And I put it back in, and then it's so kind of like I feel a little bit good. I feel a little bit good that I did that, because it's like that's good market work. But on the other hand, I took money out of Polkadot.
Okay.
Like that link, and that had a nice bounce today. So you know, perhaps you shouldn't go so heavy on your portfolio. But I really thought the run up would be a bit larger. I'm starting to think, who's going to sell now? Why do you want to sell? It hasn't reached an all-time high yet. If it goes over an all-time high, I'm going to sell.
But you've always got to think that whenever you can sell, that means there is someone willing to buy, and vice versa. So whenever you think it's a good price to buy at, it's someone else thinks it's a good price to sell at, and the other way around. So we'll see what some of the others think today. I see we've got a few other people joining us. Fazal, you've actually got in first time today.
Yeah, I managed to get lucky today.
Well done. And we've got a couple of others joining us as well. Clive. Hello, Clive.
Nice to meet you, Gary.
Yeah, well, welcome to the party. And for you, and we've got Jay joining us as well, who's on mute at the moment. There's no real format or structures to these sessions. We end up talking about whatever is the flavour of things. We're open to beginners, novices, and experts alike. So, you know, if you're actively day trading, this is the place for you. If you're a complete novice, this is the place for you as well.
Yeah, Gary, what I wanted to ask everybody today, how are they faring removing the coins and selling them into currency and removing the currency? Because I've had various bank accounts frozen just because I was trading on Binance. So I've kind of had to take all my coins out of Binance, store them on a cold wallet, and I don't really know what to do about it anymore. Okay. Obviously, I can trade Tether and then back again, but what's the feeling at the moment?
So are you UK based to begin with?
Yeah, I'm based in the UK at the moment.
Okay, because I know some people who've gone via something like PayPal or Swissborg or Ziglu. I think there may be a few others as well. And if Steve joins us, Steve, I think, does a fair amount of transfer between crypto and fiat as well. And he might have some ideas. Sam, do you ever actually cash out in any way? You might be able to offer some advice.
Do you know what? I got in crypto in February, and I plan to hodl until the end of the bull run. So I haven't looked to take anything out. I have heard with Binance that you can remove, but it's harder to deposit into Binance.
I think it's actually, I believe it's now getting easier. One of the problems with Binance until recently was that the FCA issued a notice to them, which was to do about, initially I think it was to do with them trading futures, but certainly the FCA just sent a letter saying, you know, please do not do things that you are not regulated for, which is kind of funny because crypto technically isn't regulated, but derivatives are. And I think as a result, all of the banks went, whoa, this sounds a bit interesting. So UK banks, I know, stopped allowing people to transfer from their bank accounts into Binance. and possibly may have suspended trading the other way as well. And they're claiming, oh, it looks like a suspicious activity or whatever. I don't know, anyone else out there who's done any trading recently and actually converted back to GBP or USD?
From which exchange?
From Binance would be the obvious one, I guess.
No, but the way I see it, as long as I can convert it into a currency that's in Coinbase and it's relatively cheap, and I have no issue with Coinbase and any of the bank I use, that's what I try to do. Right. So I still buy coins that is on Binance. That's no problem. All it is, as I said, I just have an extra step to go through to access Binance products.
Yep. And that's what I think a number of people have had to do, Clive, is that they route from Binance to another exchange or entity or whatever, then to GBP. Seems to be the common one. But what that means in terms of commissions, fees, exchange rates and risks of that, I don't know what the cost is of that.
Yeah, you can do it in like there was a video of a guy who was using Kraken. So you can just say buy XRP in Binance and then send that to Kraken and then cash out that way. But then like Gary said, you're just going to have to look at what the fees are and compare it to Coinbase.
Faisal, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you, Maz?
So, listen, out of all the exchanges, just for a second, out of all the exchanges in the world, in terms of regulation, the most regulated is Coinbase. Am I correct?
Well, it is. I think it is regulated, isn't it? Because it's FCA.
Out of all exchanges in the world, what one would you say is the most regulated?
Well, it depends. It depends what you mean by regulated and regulated for what.
The feds or the government is going to say, "Oh yeah, you're doing something dodgy. We're going to jump on you straight away."
No, so straight away. As far as I'm aware, cryptocurrencies are not a regulated financial instrument in any jurisdiction around the world. Okay. However, in the UK, Gemini is registered with the FCA, Ziglu is registered with the FCA, but they are regulated and registered for specific activities. And this is the thing you have to be careful with when people say, oh, we're fully regulated. It regulated for what? Are they regulated for e-money? Are they regulated for holding deposits? Are they regulated for whatever else? So always be very careful when companies are saying that they're regulated. Coinbase has got a very good reputation, certainly, and it may be regulated with somebody, but not necessarily for what you think they're regulated for.
Okay.
So just be mindful of that, because I know this is where you've got the issue with the SEC at the moment and Ripple going through a court case where they're talking about the reason they're doing that is that they're saying that what Ripple did was a regulated activity and they didn't register it as such and they didn't go through the process with the SEC. Therefore, they are operating illegally according to their definition, which is where Ripple are saying, well, we're not, we didn't launch as a security, we're not a security, therefore we are not regulated, therefore you can't stop us type thing.
My own experience with Coinbase, I did used to trade with them heavily before December 2020, when the FCA started making noises. And at that time, I was able to trade for other people. So I used to buy and sell crypto for sub-accounts. And then when the FCA announced, I think it was 15th of December was the first application date. From that date on, basically, they shut me down. The account was closed. My assets were seized, which were all in digital currency, luckily, for about a month. And then they released them. They just sent me a message saying, oh, you can have them.
So when did you open it?
Pardon?
When did you open your account?
With Coinbase, it would have been a couple of years ago.
But what do you mean by they seized your funds if they're in
Also, they said you're in breach of our terms and conditions. They were very non-specific about which ones I'd breached.
Right.
And as far as I could gather, it was because I was trading under, I was a master accountant, and underneath me was about 3 or 4 different guys that I was trading on behalf of. And that's what they didn't like. They said it breached the terms and conditions. I probably would have been all right had I done that in a corporate account, but I had tried to set that up, and for some reason that had been rejected. I think it was just bad luck, and it was just easier to carry on trading under my own name. And then the FCA kind of threw a spanner in the works. And then the next thing that happened was that I started trading in Binance, and then Binance was, everything was going smoothly. I was moving money from HSBC and Citibank into Binance. But when I reversed it and tried to take money out, it had been fine up until about January, I think it was. And then the FCA, by then, they'd had a cut-off date for the licensing. And they must have told the banks, or the banks had used it as an excuse because they were alerted to it. And they just froze those accounts. And I'm still to this day trying to retrieve funds from Citibank, HSBC, and Santander, which were the 3 banks that I was moving funds to. So I just wondered
It's
if
very interesting. Everyone's got different experience. Everyone's got different experience, because I bought quite a few Litecoin back in 2017 on Binance, and I just lost interest in Litecoin, so I sold it the other day. So all I did is send it to Coinbase and sold it, sold it to GDP. And I checked my bank account. As soon as I sold it on Coinbase, I logged into my bank account and it was instantly there. I'm like, wow, that's quick. I expected a few minutes or few hours, but no, it was literally instantly in my account, bank account.
Well,
So
that's very impressive, because
wow.
my experience was that there was always a delay, at least in the time that I was trading up until December 2020. It started to get reduced, and I think in the end we were down to less than 2 hours, but it was never instantaneous.
So I use Litecoin. So Litecoin is pretty quick. So if you're using Ethereum, you're going to pay high fee, high prices, or even Stellar. If you can, in a cheap rate, convert to Stellar instantly. There are so many coins that are so cheap to move around.
Dogecoin's real cheap to move around, and it's very, it costs like 30 cents. So the fees you pay on Dogecoin are tiny. So Stephen, who does the day trading, sometimes he comes. So
yeah, the problem I had was moving fiat currency out, obviously selling the coins, and then trying to access the profits from that. As soon as I put it into a bank, that's when they jumped on me. Yeah. So
speaking of fiat, does it pay, like, I don't know if anyone's got kind of forex knowledge here, but would it pay to sell your crypto into like maybe a more expensive fiat? I don't know, like krona, Finnish krona, and then put it into pounds, or it just goes straight into pounds? What, like, does anyone have any knowledge on that?
Yeah, at the time I was just going into pounds from say Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I was trading for other people, and obviously that's what they were trying to regulate and stamp on. So I suppose I got targeted because of that. I did make an early application to the FCA and then pulled out once I knew that I think it was a £10,000 application fee. And then on top of that, there was, at the time I discussed it with them, they hadn't resolved what percentage they were going to take from everybody. At the end of the year, they were still inventing a number. And I've dealt with regulators in a previous life. I used to be in telecoms, so I was heavily regulated in that. And it just seemed to be jobs for the boys, rather than protecting the public.
I think the more general thing as well is that everyone's experiences are different, and it may depend upon when you've done activity, which bank you've done it with, which exchange you've done it with, and what the kind of like the volume and frequency of your activity as well. I think if you're dealing in relatively large numbers, they take a lot more interest than if you just try to buy or sell £20.
Yeah, I was definitely dealing in large numbers, and In terms of the withdrawals, though, they were only at the 20K level. You know, they weren't huge, 20, 30, 50K, that kind of thing. But
that's still more than enough to hit most banks'
radar.
SAR radars. Yeah. So
yeah, I think anything above 5K, they start flagging things up. Then they start taking an interest.
yeah. Well, I had a lot more coming in. I was in the millions coming in as well. So there was large funds coming in. I was converting.
Sorry.
say again, Sam.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Is it worth sending your money in small amounts then?
Yeah, but the volume of business that I had at the time prevented me doing that, and obviously I had clients that wanted instantaneous trades doing. I'm a trader, and so they wanted to buy the coins cheaply at a particular moment in time. So speed was everything, and the movement of money out was just basically my commissions, so that was my spending money kind of thing.
The other thing to watch out for, Sam, is that originally it used to be that the way you'd keep it off their radar is to do multiple transactions below whatever the trigger threshold was. But eventually, I think they've become savvy to that, and they've now got the capability to aggregate it. I'm not sure which ones actually do this though, but most of them certainly have got the capability to say, hang on, you did 20 trades of $1,000. So that's equivalent to you doing a $20,000 trade. Whereas in the past, if you did 20 $1,000 trades, each one would get under the radar, and they wouldn't be, they didn't have the ability to aggregate it up. But I think that might be changing now.
I had some very weird experiences with Revolut. I think I mentioned in the chats previously, but I was one of the early adopters of Revolut, and had an account with them for a very long time. There was just legitimate funds coming in from my other bank accounts, and I would get questioned, and they would demand to see copies of my debit and credit cards, and I'd have to photograph them and send them into Revolut. And then they froze my accounts about 3 times, and each time eventually they released it, and they did pay the missing interest, which I charged them 8% above bank base for the time I didn't have access. But I had to get the FCA to intervene to do that. And finally, they closed me out and shut the account completely. And all I did was move £1,000 from one of my accounts into Revolut. And I then, during this process, obviously I was annoyed, and I realized that they'd been offering trading in instruments that they weren't licensed to offer. And not only that, they hadn't got the underlying instruments, which they're supposed to have. So it was a bit like me and Gary saying, hang on a minute, I'm going to sell dollars at 50p and let you buy euros at 150. They were just inventing their own numbers, basically, based on other exchanges, I presume. But there was no underlying asset. And at one time in Revolut, I had maybe 10 grand's worth of Bitcoins and 2 grand's worth of Ethereum. None of it existed. It was just a fake platform. And I filed a complaint about them because they'd been picking on me. So I fired one back. And nothing has ever come of it. Normally there's a tribunal, and you'd think they would have been dragged in front of one because of my background in tribunals with regulators. And either they've got deep pockets to pay bribes, but it's all gone under the radar. But they were offering commodities like gold, silver, etc., that you could buy within your Revolut account. But there was no underlying asset, and that was one thing. And the second thing, they had no license to do that. So they had to file a second license application eventually. So it's interesting how some companies can get away with murder and others can't. It's just completely bizarre.
Yep. And I think with Revolut, it kind of had the benefit of being like a challenger bank type operation. So I think the regulators were quite keen to encourage them because it was introducing some competition in the market. But then Revolut is originally, is it Estonian originating or something. I seem to remember, and there have been some concerns about its structure and its setup and that kind of thing. But as you say, it all seems to settle down, and but they seem to be like an accepted thing these days. So away it goes.
Very, very strange.
Yeah. So how about we talk about the markets for a moment? So interesting to see that despite the crashes and collapses and everything, all cryptocurrency markets, still valuation is over $2 trillion, which is interesting because previously when we've had these like market corrections, that the market cap has dropped to like 1.4, 1.5 trillion. Now it's still staying above 2 trillion. So there's still a lot more in there. But I don't know, has anyone been watching Bitcoin this week when it had a slight hiccup?
Yes, very much so. I've been keeping rapt attention to it. I've done nothing. I've been sleeping well, been like getting up every time I look. Terrible obsession. I've been putting my money into stable coins and riding pumps and waves. Oh, it's been a bit of a momentous week. But as I said, Cardano is pumping right now. So in between this conversation, I've been looking at it. I'm expecting it to reach an all-time high today. And so it should, like if you think about what's happened to Cardano right now, it's like having the very first mobile phone and then going to a smartphone. That is what's happened to Cardano. So when people talk about buying the rumor and selling the news, why the hell would you sell that? like it just seems bonkers to sell. Like the product, like think of all the DEXs and all the DeFi and the NFT space that's going to open up on it. Like I'm feeling very, very bullish on it. Saying that, I'm going to sell today because I believe a lot of other people will. I'm only doing it because I think other people will sell. But I can see a big pump on Cardano. I'm watching it right now.
I'm just looking at trying to dig up Cardano at the moment against Ethereum, see how it's doing. Because this is the thing, you sometimes look at something like Cardano or Dash or whatever, and you think it's doing really, really well, and then you realize it's actually because Bitcoin or Ethereum is doing well. But it's interesting to see that it does seem to be doing quite nicely against Ethereum, which, given that that's kind of I guess the nearest competitor, you'd say, in a way.
Cardano day is the day.
What I find odd about the crash of Bitcoin is that if we, as a team, decided that we'd sell all our Bitcoin in one go to create a bump in the market, we couldn't achieve that because various algorithms would prevent us from selling all our Bitcoins in one go. So it makes me suspect that this is regulator designed, because all of these exchanges have to be regulated now, which allows the regulators to find out who we are. They're collecting all our KYC, and presumably that's for tax reasons later. But it's also to disrupt the market and the trust and confidence that the public has in this market. Because if they see the kind of sale-off that happened last week, it scares the crap out of most members of the public. And it happened at a time when it should have gone the other way. And I do a lot of OTC trades, and the demand for Bitcoin is through the roof. I've got one group of banks wanting to buy 1.5 million if they can find it. So the demand is definitely there. The coins aren't.
Well, that was the interesting thing, as you say, you got this drop earlier on in the week.
Yeah, look at that. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, but that was just after the announcement about El Salvador. And whether that was connected or not, I really don't know. Because everyone keeps saying to me, what caused this? I always say
my view on that is that El Salvador, obviously, the US government is trying to collapse all of those countries. Look what it's done to Venezuela, the second most oil-rich country in the world, and they're starving on the street eating cockroaches kind of thing. And so I think what's happening here is that the US government's leaning on these exchanges and saying, look, I want you to allow us to sell it all off in one go because we've got you by the short and curlies, and if you don't agree to this trade, we're going to shut you down. It must be something like that. I just can't explain it in any other way.
My personal thing is that I don't think this is regulator driven. I think it's manipulation, definitely, but it's not it's not manipulation by a regulator as such.
Yeah, my point is, Gary, who could possibly be allowed to do that dump in one go? Like I said, if we dump 2 million bitcoins, if we had them to dump,
Sorry,
we'd have algorithms putting the brakes on and smoothing out the trade for us without our involvement. All of these exchanges have these algorithms.
Yeah, go on. Who's going to add in on that?
Yeah, I was gonna add in. So currently, well, first of all, the last cycle, Bitcoin cycle, the peak market cap was roughly 2.5 to 2.8 trillion. So we're nowhere near the peak yet, if you look at it in monetary terms, considering what was the last cycle was. Second of all, out of the current $2.1 trillion, 70% of them are of the money are owned by big whale wallets. Now, imagine a market controlled by 70% power, what they can do. As far as I'm concerned, do you remember the Dogecoin FUD?
Yeah.
They did exactly with El Salvador. They pumped up the price, waiting, and then bang, release the money. Remember, this 70%. This is why US and many other government wants to regulate it properly, because this is getting out of control, because it's too much manipulation going on. And it goes on within the banking industry all the time. They pay sometimes billions of dollars of fines and get away with it, and they still continue, because they rather pay the billions of dollars of fine, but they're still making enough profit. If you do your research, you find how many banks recently fined over tens of billions of dollars in fines, and they still continue doing it because it's money-making machine.
Well, it's just the cost of doing business, isn't it? And
it's costing in. So they rather pay the fine.
It was interesting. I was on a call with a group who are seeking more transparency in markets and that kind of thing, and they were highlighting exactly as you say about how much the fines are that the banks are paying for. Also,
look at the LIBOR, for example. So
but there was an interesting point out of this, that actually it didn't just reflect how much the banks are willing to do this, but there were no prosecutions, there was no people going to prison. Nope. So in some ways, it's the regulators and the government getting the money from the fines who are kind of like colluding in it as well.
Yeah.
Just as a different way of thinking about it.
100%. You think the government like gives the monkeys?
Yeah.
Like any of us.
Well,
they don't.
Exactly. I'm just I'm just trying to find the that absolute dump on the 1 minute chart, because it was spectacular, wasn't it? I guess it was
8 minutes past the hour.
Yeah.
I couldn't catch up with it. I couldn't get in. I was at work and I saw it going down. I thought, oh, we bound off the 50k, surely, because that was such strong resistance. So I was thinking, there's no way it's going to go past there. And you know, I got onto my break and I've lost like 25% of my portfolio. I was like, what has happened?
but the thing to remember, I stuck a post up on this on LinkedIn as well, is that this is what happens in the crypto market. A 20% correction does happen.
Sam, did that shock you though?
Joe, I wouldn't say. I know these things can happen, but
exactly. You're experienced enough to know. You know what? This is just another day, another week, another month for crypto.
Yeah.
So I don't even worry about it anymore. I don't even. Seriously, it's just normal part of crypto. Sorry, I was just going to change the topic for a second. I'm moving on from crypto. NFT is the next crypto. Trust me.
Yep.
Forget DeFi. Yeah, last cycle I invested in DeFi. I realized, you know what? No DeFi, NFT. Silly money. When you look at what Visa just paid for CryptoPunks, because it's a limited edition, 10,000 or whatever. Yeah. Because people use it as a profile. This is what I was just before the this Zoom call, I was just doing a little bit of research. It's amazing. So you can have anything within Ethereum blockchain and say, proof that this belongs to you. So a company or you as a person have your Facebook profile a particular image or whatever represents you, and you own it by digitally. It's a bit like baseball. People used to collect, my grandparents used to collect baseball cards and so on. It's amazing. So I personally think the next evolution, forget wasting our time, and we, as long as we have these main platforms to access these NFTs, all I can say is OpenSea.
Yeah.
Go into OpenSea and look into what's available, and you'll be shocked, and how easy even to create your own.
I've done it. So I'm an advisor of a few projects, and I've created my own NFT. I've been given an NFT by a well-known crypto artist. I've done a few other things on that as well.
So you're saying you make an NFT of your own Facebook profile picture,
yeah,
and you can spin it on Ethereum, and some Wally is going to give you money for that.
Yep. No, some Wally can do if they want to.
If your Facebook picture is demanded enough,
yep.
If there's a demand for it, anyone will pay.
Yeah. NBA Top Shots generated, I think it was $430 million so far this year in NFTs. They did over $200 million last year. And then you've got things like Beeple, who's a famous crypto artist, is 5,000 days. That raised at auction at Christie's, was it $69 million? So that's for a single NFT. But what I'm finding is that most of the people in the NFT market are one of two types of people. They're either people who are looking at the chart saying, as Maz was saying, oh, wow, this is an amazing market, it's exploding, prices are all going up, so they're piling into it. Or they are people who are into crypto art, who can see this as a great new way type thing. Neither of those groups fully understand how an NFT works or what it actually is. And that's why I'm involved in a few projects to try and change that and make them a bit better. But yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I was going to add to that. The other interesting thing about NFTs is the actual creator, he gets the royalty as well going forward whenever it gets sold. So
that's why the crypto artists like it, because you can actually configure it so they get a commission every time.
Yeah,
sorry, you can carry on, Jay.
That makes it very interesting, because if you already like playing games, or if you any type of creative artist or anything, painter, it makes a lot of sense to jump on the blockchain of the NFT. To not only does it say validate you as the digital certificate holder of the actual art, but you also get the royalty going forward every time someone sells it. So it makes a lot of sense to going forward. If you're a creator, you should use NFT to represent your art in some way. But I don't think it's just going to be one thing. I think it's going to be, last week we was talking to Fernando, I think it was as well, which he brought up interesting point that everything is moving to, you saw Facebook probably the other day come up with the glasses. So everything's going to become digitalized, and it's going to be a metaverse where people are going to interact and have a, like, what's that film? Ready Player One.
Yep.
Where you're going to have this life in a virtual reality, and then you can have your NFT in that world, in that metaverse.
Oculus by any chance?
What's that, sorry?
Do you have Oculus by any chance?
No,
You don't?
So I used to play a lot of games. So for me,
get
understanding
yourself an
NFT,
Oculus. I have a room, a crypto room, literally a virtual. So somebody who doesn't have no understanding.
Did you say you have Oculus?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So you can literally explain using the trading view charts, whatever chart, you can have hundreds of desktop screens in front of you, and you can literally, in a virtual world, explain to someone how a crypto works. It makes so much easier than Zoom call or whatnot.
Yeah. There's so many.
You can share your desktop, everything.
Right.
You can
so
create
many.
your
Yeah,
own
you
room
see,
as it looks like your room.
Yeah, you see a lot of people as well in the people that use AutoCAD for like architecture and designing and things like that.
I use Unity.
Unity.
Unity, yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard of Unity, but it's like AutoCAD, yeah.
It's 3D equivalent.
Yeah. Imagine both of us jumping on that, and you just showing me, look, these are the diameters. We don't even have to be in the same space. This is how we're gonna build a bike, whatever the case may be. This is the length, this is diameters, whatever. And I think we're just, tip of the iceberg of the whole Metaverse / NFT space, and you can bring your own NFT into the space to showcase what you own.
There is a blockchain, I think there's a coin just about to pop, where within the metaverse, you own a plot of metaverse land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you can advertise your NFTs and whatever you want within that
Right.
land. So everyone can see it virtually, like they're viewing a gallery.
Exactly, yeah. It's really interesting. Speaking of that, you said something's gonna pop. What does everyone find like up and coming things? I'm just getting hip on Solana, and it's like I watched videos about 8 months ago where people's like, this is the next thing.
Yeah.
It can do this many transactions in this amount of time. And it's like, in hindsight, it's like, oh, of course, this makes a lot of sense. But when you're watching it then, I mean, I just saw the video now, it's an old video, but you don't want to jump on it. But now you look at it, it's like, wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I look at coins. I mean, what the purpose of the coin? There's no point just jumping in the bandwagon like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, or it's what they do. What's their long-term goal? So mainly like smart contract platforms. So you've got Terra Luna, the top 20, apart from Theta and a few others. Theta is all about data. I suppose the main platform ones, Avalanche, you've got your VeChain, you've got your Tron, you've got Neo, EOS, IOTA, all these layer one building on top of, or brand new, completely brand new. And I think a lot of it is a bit like how I see it is, look at how Apple, a lot of people say, oh, Apple, you're an Apple fanboy. It's an ecosystem. How many followers do they have? Look at Tesla. Look at Tesla, how, oh, you're a Tesla fanboy because it's Tesla. Why not other Porsche Electric or whatever? It's all because they have followers.
Yeah.
If in the future, whoever has the biggest followers, but at the same time, how many validators are available in use for that platform? There's no point having 1 billion followers of Cardano if there's only 10 validators available at the time, active. So that's important as well.
Validators, right.
Yeah, because what's the point having a, for example, Solana, yeah? 50,000 transaction or whatever, but they only have currently 800 validators.
Okay.
Imagine someone attacks 400 of them or 401. They can overpower.
Is validators the same thing as a node? Is that same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can vary depending upon which blockchain you're using.
Yes, of course.
But you're right. That's certainly the bigger the network in terms of the number of nodes, the number of the validators, the number of end compute capability that's governing it, the better. I think it was EOS at one point. One of the problems with EOS was that there were very few validators or nodes. I think it was 11 or something. And similarly with Ripple in the early days, Ripple only had a limited number of nodes, which is, I think it's over 50 now or possibly even more. But yeah, that's definitely
Salt
something
as well.
to check.
Remember Salt? Salt, S-A-L-T, Salt and vinegar. That's another one. They had the issue with the validators. They couldn't because of the limited validator.
It's a bigger risk. That's what makes Bitcoin special, right? Because you can virtually impossible to.
And the second one to me is how many coins. There's no point in foaming into a coin and thinking, oh yeah, Cardano's going to go to $100 when you have no understanding how many coins are there in the first place. Are they millions? Are they billions? Or are they trillions? Yeah. A lot of people get FOMO into a coin, not looking at the fundamentals of the market.
Yeah, like Cardano. Cardano is a big example of that, isn't it? Oh, it's only $1.
Yeah, but there's billions of coins, not millions.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big supply.
But it comes down to the whole thing again, that supply is important, but if there's no demand, it doesn't matter whether there's only 100 coins or 1 trillion coins. If no one wants them, there's no market, which is where liquidity comes into play as well. So these are certainly all things to be thinking about, definitely.
What about airdrops? So my cousin is heavily into crypto as well. He's like my main source of info, but he's telling me about these airdrops he keeps on getting. It sounds like free money, basically. And
It is,
Yeah.
because all it's doing is that typically you're doing an airdrop, either in return for people helping to promote your new platform, so effectively you're being paid to help people market things, or it's just that they want some liquidity, they want the market to go, they want some hype. So it is a form of kind of like free money, in that they're just giving it just to get the things going. It's like Kickstarter is a wrong description, but it's just a way of kicking interactions kind of thing. So yeah, the challenge I found with airdrops was simply trying to keep pace with them, and the number of them which were quite complicated to get into. So some of them were great. It was like, go and buy some Ethereum, use your MetaMask, register here, and we'll give you some stuff. Others were, you've got to use our own wallets, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that, and
To be eligible, basically, to receive the airdrops, right? Yeah. Okay.
that's right. And Sam might be able to show his experience with World Mobile Token, which wasn't an airdrop. But
You mentioned that last week.
Yeah, it was a very convoluted user experience, to say the least. So you had to send your passport and a bill, and all my bills are digitalized, so I didn't have a physical copy. So I had some letter about tax, and then they initially rejected it. And I was like, I had to push back. No, you can't reject. This is from the government itself. How can you reject this and say it's not good enough for my address verification? So yeah,
Right.
it was quite complex. And then getting money over from Binance. It was the first time I'd ever paid for anything in crypto as well. So I was trying to do it from Binance, but in the end I just did it from.
Did you receive at the end airdrops?
Well, I got, it wasn't, and it's like basically I've got my World Mobile Token. So I bought a certain amount, shall we say, of them. Now they're in my Yoroi wallet. So yeah, I've got them in there, but it's certainly not worth what I've paid for yet. But I would imagine over the course of time, and with smart contracts just opening in a couple of hours, it would rapidly go up.
So Sam, while you're on, and while we're talking about World Mobile Token, is there any news yet as to when that's going to get listed on any exchanges?
No, I've seen it on Coin. I mean, it isn't an exchange; it's on CoinMarketCap. I'm sure, it's going to be on Cardano, isn't it? So I'm sure on their network, as soon as smart contracts go live, it's in the Ethereum network, the Ethereum chain.
Okay.
Is that when you can sell it, essentially, when it gets?
Yeah, I would imagine so. But initially, it might be worth like X amount when smart contracts go open. But I'm going to hodl that for a while. Certainly quite a long time. I see it as quite. Apparently, the noise is that it's been very successful. It's been very successful, and I think there's going to be some very good news coming out from Charles Hoskinson with the smart contracts going live. I think, I don't know, it's just a rumor, but I've heard through the rumor mill that there's going to be a major country adoption of Cardano. But again, it could just be the rumor. I've heard Philippines, the Philippines, and Cardano being used there. He's been meeting presidents across the world, so he's been a very busy and active boy as Charles. So it's a very interesting time for Cardano, and it's a very interesting time for crypto, isn't it? So
it's always something happening. So hopefully it works out.
I hope we've got a lot of investors.
So we've covered Bitcoin, Cardano, World Mobile Token. What else is going on? The Ripple case took an interesting turn during the week, where I think the SEC pushed back. Haven't heard any more on that. Anyone else got any other crypto news worth sharing, or stuff they've been seeing?
Let's talk about portfolios, and what kind of do we all listen to George, or do we all what's that portfolio shares like? Is it like big caps, mid caps, low caps? What is it? Is it DeFi? Is it NFTs? Is it what? Let's talk about that side.
I'll throw in one quick caveat before everyone else starts, because I picked up on this with someone who made a comment about their portfolio on one of the forums today. please never say how much of something you've got.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, definitely not. I'm not interested in. I'm just interested in what's everyone's mindset about crypto and how they're thinking.
Yep.
I think what Maz is saying, like percentages,
Yeah.
because with some of the YouTubers or some of the like cryptos or us, they talk about you should have, I don't know, 50% Bitcoin, 25% altcoin. So it'll just be interesting just to find out.
And if you feel comfortable, you can say, yeah, I got, I don't know, example, under 10,000 or under 20,000 invested. So I have understanding. Are we talking about people here having a conversation who got 100,000, 200,000 invested, or are we talking about 10, 20,000 invested? So I have better understanding.
Yeah. So go on, Maz, what's your position at the moment?
So I have less than 20, at the moment, under 25.
But I wasn't thinking in terms of how much.
Oh,
but
in terms of cryptos, my biggest current holding, not intentionally, is BNB.
Okay.
Second is Bitcoin. Third is Ethereum in terms of holding.
So that means you're focusing on pretty much traditional cryptocurrency as opposed to DeFi, NFTs, and that kind of thing.
These are the early ones I got into.
Yeah.
Then obviously coins like Cardano, Aave, Matic, Avalanche, VeChain, Terra Luna, Harmony One, XRP, Audius, Hot, Chiliz, Anchor. There's some I didn't FOMO in, like Theta, I missed out. So I thought, let me get Anchor because that's equivalent, or Storage is another one. Chromia, Stellar, Lena, Refinance.
Are you just reading the coin market cap list?
These are my current holdings.
Okay.
So as I said, percentage-wise, my biggest holding is BNB, and then BTC, and then Ethereum, and then Cardano, and then Matic, and then you got your AVAX, your Terra Luna, and all these potential platform. Once they release their smart contract, they'll be competing like top 5, top 6, top 7.
Okay. Because I know I've got a spread of various things which just piqued my interest, and one of them that happened to notice today, Tron's been quiet for a while, and Tron I think went up 20% today. And it's like, oh, that was quite nice, but I don't have a massive amount of it. So, what do other people think? You got any preferred?
Tron is like Neo 2017 when the whole hypes was about with Justin Lee. Tron is a failure. Forget Tron. I don't even bother. Actually, no. I left some of it. I sold majority of it. I left a little bit of it, put it into KuCoin on staking, and I just left it there because Tron one is one of these failure like Neo. Anything Chinese apart from VeChain, to me, what I invested in is a failure. Only one successful is the VeChain. All the rest Chinese platform are failure.
I'm in VeChain. I think it's quite an interesting use case. I mentioned it before. It's been a nice. It was a nice little game, and I think it's bounced back a bit. Dot has had a very good day. I thought I'm going to admit to something which I perhaps shouldn't. I had about 10% of my portfolio in Dot, and I thought Cardano was going to have a massive run up today, and it hasn't. And I was surprised. I think there's been a little bit of FUD that's been thrown at Cardano. But I actually think that because of that, there won't be a big sell-off. Because if you had a massive gain, why would you sell off? So I'm watching this space, and we'll be staying up late tonight when the smart contract opens. Let's see on that one. I'll tell you what I've got, which I don't think a lot of people have, but it's gone quite up. It's gone up the coin market cap. It's gone from 40 to like 35, and that's crypto.com's coin Crow. That's that's been a nice little gainer. I think it's the reason it's gained so much is just because of their excellent marketing. And obviously they actually have got some, they've developed, they've got different apps. They got a trading app. They got a DeFi. They got a DeFi app. And
when did you, Sam? When did you get into Crow?
Early days. Do you know what? It was the second coin I ever bought. Because that was the first app that I had, and I didn't know anything about cryptocurrency at all. I didn't watch any videos. I just watched Joe Rogan. He was talking about Dogecoin. So I bought £75 of Dogecoin and £75 of Crow in February, and it just whooshed up. And I was like, well, this is all right. I'm a financial genius, you know? Like that. And then I was getting
People are, yeah, because with Crow, people are saying that in a couple of years it's going to be like the Binance coin.
well, it could,
Yeah,
equivalent.
FTX as well is another coin. Yeah, it's same.
Yes.
As long as you jump on board within their platform, you trade. You over time they burn the token, the value will increase. But it's, to be honest, I find it's slow. Apart from early days, because of Binance, they were the revolutionary to have altcoins. You remember, as far as I'm concerned, they were the innovative exchange with altcoins. Nobody had so much choice as them. Now you have so many. I mean, if I want cheap altcoins nowadays, I don't go to Binance, I'll go to KuCoin. You can find even cheaper coins. I'm sure there are even other platforms.
I was going to say, what do you find with KuCoin? Because it has a bit of a reputation at times. You not have any problems with it?
As long as I don't deal with fiat, I'm fine. All I do is I transfer any currency I bought in Binance, I move it to KuCoin. Yeah, and then so if I transfer USDT to KuCoin, I just use it like GBP, but USDT to buy whatever coin I wish.
Okay.
And
I found the whole experience when I opened up a KuCoin account, their whole checking, because they use a third-party company to do your KYC, and I think that took about 2 weeks or a week and a half to deposit money in. So it was a bit.
Deposit what? Cash, GBP.
Yeah, I think I paid with credit card. I think it was about 100, 200 pounds, and that took about 2 weeks. I don't know what they were doing.
This is why your interaction, you don't deal with that. You deal with Tether or stablecoin. It's so much easier to move around.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, yeah, you mean move?
Yes.
What you mean move Tether into?
Yeah,
okay.
you don't. I never.
Yeah,
buy
but I think
anything.
KYC nowadays is not done by human. They have like AI, something like that.
Oh,
So it might be, for example, your file. I think they might have like gone down somewhere. And they need someone to finally approve it or view it, something like that. I guess. Because I think nowadays you have like artificial intelligence to do that. So I really don't think you have like a person to do KYC.
A lot of them certainly that they've automated the process and they actually effectively outsource it to KYC providers who do that. So they've got the capability to do things like scanning of documents for identity verification and that kind of thing. We've not got that long left in the session. Does anyone else want to share anything about their portfolios? It's going back to Maz's points about diversification and that kind of thing. Or does anyone have any other questions or queries or anything? This is usually where Fazal says, I've got something.
Come on, guys, speak up. Don't be shy. Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's amazing the way I can always get people to shut up by saying, has anyone got any questions? And everyone always goes quiet. So
no one speak for the next 30 seconds, please.
that will get edited out. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes left. So is there anything else that's worth sharing that anyone is keeping an eye on? Or
NFT.
NFTs.
Yeah, I was gonna get into
next.
NFT as well.
Yeah, I'm not even wasting my time looking at cryptos anymore, coins. I look at NFT. NFT, up and coming NFTs.
Let me ask you this, Mas. So are you actually trading any tokens or more so the
I
project?
just discovered it. I've heard of it for so long. I got so fed up with it. It's my day off. I thought, let me learn something interesting and new today. And I discovered NFT and OpenSea. OpenSea is a platform, a bit like Binance or Coinbase for NFTs. It's the biggest platform in the world at the moment. Forget Rari or any others.
Yeah, I think it's surpassed 1 billion transactions, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
It's the Binance world of cryptocurrency coins.
Yeah, for NFTs.
NFTs. And what you're doing, you're buying. Sorry?
Are you worried about NFTs overheating?
Definitely.
In my experience in 2017, the DeFi was overheating. But we just moved on to NFT now. You just have to make your profit and move on.
Well, that's the case with each of the cryptocurrency cycles I've seen. So, crypto originally went through a cycle where it kind of overheated. It was like a bubble. And then in 2017, 2018, it settled down. Then you had the ICO bubble, where it was a craze of everyone trying to raise funds through it. Then, as you say, there was DeFi bubble. Currently, there's an NFT bubble. I actually think there's going to be two NFT bubbles. I think there's the first one as everyone gets into the digital art and collectible space. Then I think you're going to start seeing things, I think it was mentioned before, the whole Metaverse type thing. I think it's going to be about in gaming and VR. The real big growth, I still think in NFTs, is going to be when they start using them as digital asset management tools, where we're going to see them start and being used as like digital share certificates and that kind of thing. So I think the real market for NFTs has not yet begun. But the thing to be aware of with NFTs is that whereas, you can buy and sell Bitcoin because, there are people who will buy Bitcoin just like money, NFTs represent something exceedingly specific. And so, you could buy CryptoPunk, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up in price. There has to be someone else who wants to buy that particular CryptoPunk over and above any other one for it to go up in price. So this is why I say to people, do read up on NFTs, take a look at both Rarible and OpenSeas have actually got good documentation behind them, which explain what NFTs are and how they work and how to get into them. Most of it's in the digital art, collectibles, and beginning to be gaming space at the moment.
No, gaming space is actually pretty big. There are lots of game stuff and they're on the NFT world. I think Decentralised people buy some lands, something Eagles, or what's that game that people think the Minecrafting kind of stuff like that.
Yep.
So there's lots of these things going on in the NFT. I don't know what you call it bubble, but it's been like that for some time already. It's just now the people more attention looking into that.
Yep. And I think that's the other thing. It's a really good point that you make there, that sometimes it's simply that you suddenly get a market massively grows simply because people begin to hear about it.
From my understanding, it's because of a lot of artists during the COVID period, they had no means of making income. They discovered the whole NFT industry. So now it's booming. So you notice a lot of famous artists, especially in the US, they're all jumping on board. Imagine, I don't know, you're a Taylor Swift fan. You like your profile picture to be Taylor Swift. And imagine there's a limited images of it. And you have the rights. Yeah, so they're creating a fan base within their community. So the more the demand of it, the prices goes up.
Yep. The other odd thing to watch out for, though, certainly in the digital art side of things, so I track this fairly closely, is that the market is growing in volume, but the value of the NFTs are dropping. So what you're seeing is that more and more people are putting cheaper and cheaper NFTs out there. So you do need to be careful what it is that you get into and what you look at.
Too much supply, you mean, yeah? Not enough demand. Yeah,
that's right. And the other thing to watch as well, there was an interesting hack, I think it was last week on Rarible, I think, or it may have been overseas. I can't remember which it was, where someone managed to do a hack where they actually got a load of NFTs and effectively burned them, so that they transferred them to an unusable wallet, which means there are a load of these NFTs that people had bought that they simply couldn't access anymore. So there's a lot of stuff to be very cautious about. And I do some work on NFTs and trying to make them more stable in terms of the architecture. Because if you actually look at what the bits
are. What project is that?
So I'm working on a few. I'm working with two cryptocustodial capabilities where we're looking at ramping some stuff up, and I'm working with a data storage company. And I'm under NDA on that, unfortunately, to explain what we're doing. But if you look at what you need for an NFT, you need a wallet, so you need the private key for the wallet. You have the token itself, you have the smart contract, you have the smart contracts on a blockchain, you have the end digital asset, might be on IPFS, you've got the linkage between the two. There's about 6 quite major failure points that if any of them go wrong, you've lost access. And most people who buy an NFT don't realize that. So go and check on my YouTube channel. I've got some stuff on NFTs.
Is there some kind of custodian as well? They store NFTs for some clients, something like that?
Well, this is why I'm working with a couple of crypto custodial digital asset custodian type things. So a lot of people don't actually understand how crypto custody works and how private key management works.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's also insurance as well. Some people have like insurance for like loss or theft or that kind of stuff on the NFTs.
Yeah, so that's certainly growing again, but a lot of people don't realize, just in crypto in general, that all because you've got your crypto on a USB stick, you actually haven't got your crypto on a USB stick. What you've got is the private keys on a USB stick that give you access to crypto, and same with NFTs. So it's quite funny when you see people being very protective about a USB stick and sticking it in a safe in Switzerland with armed guards and that, and they don't realize that the crypto isn't actually on the stick. So anyway, folks, we're going to have to close off. We're at 8 o'clock. So I was going to say thank you very much for coming on today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's been of interest. We run these every week, and I'll stick them up on YouTube afterwards so people can click on that subscribe and like and everything. But thanks a lot for coming along, and see you all next week, hopefully.